The walking stick. Simple, yet aesthetically pleasing, functional. Today we're out here doing a hike on a local trail, and I thought I'd do something kind of fun. Collect a few walking sticks. I do that from time to time. If I'm on a long hike with steep, downhill ascents and descents, I like to take my trekking poles. But for a short local day hike, I like to pick up a walking stick from time to time. Maybe carve it on the trail and leave it at the trailhead for the next person to use. So a brief history of the walking stick. They've been around since man has stood upright, and they have signified different things over the years, apart from just being functional. The ancient Romans and Egyptians used them as a sign of power. I'm sure they were decorated in precious jewels and so forth to signify their rank in society. And then later on, the Europeans, namely Louis XIV and some of his predecessors, used the walking stick for fashion. But these days, we think of the walking stick as a tool, as a means to help us get around. Whether that is if we have a handicap, maybe it helps us to get around a little better. Maybe some people use them to ward off predators, or maybe people use them to ward off neighborhood dogs. But anyway, in this video, we're just gonna find a good one, maybe carve it to our liking, and hike with it. So stick around and let's see what we can find out here. Little red oak, just a hair small for my liking. Let's see if we can't find something else. Now, ideally, you want to find something that's already fell from a tree, but not laying on the ground. Typically, when wood lays on the ground for a good amount of time, it rots. So you want something sturdy, but you also don't want to cut down live trees, even saplings. Okay, I'm kind of liking this off the ground, not a pine, fairly straight from this section to that. So yeah, let's take that out. Okay, I think I like this. There is a little curve here, but there's nothing wrong with the curve. We'll find out when we start sawing into it if it's solid enough. So let's take some off right here. Appears to be pretty solid. Let's take it off here. Okay. So yeah, you can see there's a little curve here. Nothing wrong with that as long as it's sturdy. I like the size. This could come off about 5 inches because you want it to be in this spot right here. So let's take off about 6 inches here. Yeah, it looks pretty good. There's a little bit of rot around the bark, but we will be carving that off anyway. So I think that's gonna make a pretty decent walking stick. I like them a little thicker than some people like them. I like to have my hands where they are not quite all the way around it, and you don't want it to be too heavy. So let's get down the trail and find a good spot to carve this bad boy at. When I come upon a bridge like this, when I'm hiking with my dog, I typically like to go around because these slots right here, he doesn't feel comfortable with. So come on, Benji, let's go around. Come on, this way. We can use our walking stick to make sure we're not stepping down into a deep hole here, and to help us cross without getting soaked. Yeah, these, I know some dogs feel comfortable with it, but I don't want my pup to get his foot caught in there. Nice bridge though. Thanks for whoever built it. Run across one of these. Now this isn't a perfect specimen for this, but these are a lot of fun for walking stick projects. If this was straight, vines grow up these and they create this snake-like pattern, and they make for really cool, unique looking walking sticks. Some people like to, carve a snake out of them, put a head and eyes and all that kind of stuff, maybe a tail. I'm hoping to run across a better example, but I carved one of these for a friend of mine that had double hip surgery a couple years ago, and he kept it as a souvenir, but I hope he got some use out of it too. So interesting, unique look for a walking stick. All right, my friends, finally found a nice little spot to carve our walking stick a little bit. Now, a draw knife would be really helpful, even though there are some twists and knots and turns in this. But I think the Benchmade Puko 200 Puko is going to do good for cleaning up this bark. It's a pretty sharp knife. There's a layer in between the bark and the hardwood that's a little rotten, but once you get past that, you can see that it's going to be a fine color wood. Now, I probably won't sit here because I am in the middle of a hike. I'm just demonstrating some of the things that can be done to improve a walking stick. Obviously, if it's something that you want to keep longer than one hike, you're going to want to take that bark off, because that's where the rot happens. And if there's any insects in the wood, typically it's going to be in that bark. So we'll take off a little bit at the handle just for a nice grip. So the fun thing about walking sticks too is there's endless possibilities. You can put designs in here, you can carve faces in here. You can even carve notches where you want your hand to fit. But if you're just using one to go for a day hike, you really don't need to do much at all. We'll carve the handle down a little bit, and we will also carve the end. And you can see it's wet. We've crossed creeks with it and all that good stuff. So yeah, sharp. So let's just take a little bit off the end. really like this Puko. The only thing, after using it for several months off and on, it's a little narrow. I mean, the ergonomics are good, but if you have a large hand, so my hands are kind of unique. I have a large hand with short fingers. My hand, it's not enough to fill up my hand. I think that's why I like more of a broom style handle. But anyway. All right, my friends, I think there's not much else to be said about a walking stick. I have thoroughly enjoyed my time out here today, and got a pretty good hike in. I'm gonna, now that I've done a little bit of carving on this stick and narrowed that handle a little bit, I'm gonna hike out of here about another 2 miles, and yeah, we'll leave it for the next person. And so I hope everyone has a wonderful day and the rest of your week. And until next time, peace out. Always a little unnerving every time we pass this graveyard. Benji likes to get riled up, barks, and his haggles rise. Always kind of creepy.